Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Demystifying Divinity with Joanna and Jenny. How the heck are you doing today, Joanna?
Otherworldly,
Thank you.
just
Me
like
as
you.
well. We had a little chit chat before pressing record, and yes, the energies are there. Today, actually, we're recording it on the new moon in Cancer, and we've got Jupiter right here. The sun, the moon, and Jupiter all together. The moon and sun are proper at 4 degrees, and Jupiter's at 3. The energies are something. I'm already full body goosebumped. And I was telling Joanna before we press record, this is the energy update I have been waiting for. Mic drop. Oh, yes, I'm being dramatic. Okay. I'm allowed. I can't wait. Joanna can't wait. All the listeners can't wait. And actually, the feedback we get is you love these energy updates. I go through the astrology, and then Joanna picks a card, and she does a channeled message for each sign. So, what have you got? And we've got our
I've
match.
noticed
I am
what you're wearing.
thanks to Jamie. Isn't this fantastic? So you'll
I love
meet
it.
Jamie Inglet from Enchanting Earth Co. in an upcoming episode. We've just recorded with her, and she sent us the goodies, and you're going to learn all about crystal healing. So stay tuned for that. And we cannot wait to talk about the July energy. Joanna has been, because I'm a super fan of Joanna on YouTube, as you all are, of course. And Joanna has been predicting something. Now, Joanna doesn't do fear-based. She doesn't do that, but she says, like, something's happening in July. Joanna knows not one single thing about astrology. And Joanna knows what her spirit team guides her to know. And she's been saying it in all of her recordings and all of her updates and all of her shorts and all of her Instagrams and all of her everything. Something's going to happen in July. And she's been saying it for months. And so have I, because I, in fact, watch the stars and the charts. I, in fact, have been telling you in all of these podcasts that count them, 4 of the 5 outer planets are changing signs in 2025. The 5th is Pluto, which changed signs just, a few months prior in 2024, went into Aquarius. And then the other 4 main big players all changed signs in 2025. 2025 equals 9. 9 indicates in numerology the end. No, I am not saying the world's going to end. What I am saying and have been saying over and over again is that the world as we knew it is going to change.
Yep.
So, yeah, we are sure experiencing that, aren't we, Joanna?
You know what? I don't know what the song is called. I don't know who sings it, but I keep hearing this. Boom! There it is. Boom! There it is. What is that? What is that?
There it is.
That's
That's a 90s song. And the one I keep hearing over and over again is the REM. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. So it's like I have a kick in my step. I am not at all fear-based either. But the funny thing is, for those out there, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, probably not you, but for those out there that say astrology isn't real, it's woo-woo. Okay, well, in fact, it is a sacred language. Not only that, but what astrology does is it looks at patterns. Okay. So the last time that Neptune went into Aries, and Neptune just went into Aries in March of 2025, last time Neptune was in Aries, well, we had the American Civil War. Is that or is that not happening currently? I ask. And then Uranus going into Gemini, which is the big topic of this particular podcast today. Last time Uranus was in Gemini, Joanna, was 1941 to 1949. What happened then?
Oh,
World War II.
yes.
So again, we are not fear-based here. We are channeled. We are channelers. We are empaths. We are healers, Joanna and I. And I look at the stars, I look at the charts, I look at the patterns, and I read the stars and the charts and the heavens with my empathic and healing lens as well. I do look at the patterns as well, and you cannot help but see what's actually happening in the world. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to turn on the news, but you cannot help but to see what's on the news, what's happening in the world, and the pattern recognition of these 2 main outer planets doing what they do in these signs. So we're going to talk about it. This is the month I've been waiting for. There's been build up, and I've been talking about these things, and I've been talking about what all the planets in each sign means, right? And I've been hinting at what Uranus going into Gemini means. And if you would like more of a deep dive, tune into Demystifying Divinity on July the 8th, because that's when Joanna and I talk for an hour about Uranus in Gemini. We deep dive into this particular energy, and we will get into it now as well. But if you want more of a deeper look into that, tune into the next one. So let's talk about it, Joanna. What's happening?
Do you know what I'm seeing when you're talking about astrology? Because like you said, I know the bare minimum. I'm a Taurus. I have some bare minimum. What they're showing me is that, which I'm pretty much what you said, astrology is basically data compiled over thousands and thousands of years that exposes certain pattern.
It's patterning.
And we move in spirals. So there might be a pattern coming up again, but we are going to be meeting this pattern from a different space of consciousness, which means we have an opportunity to reveal something that needs to be revealed, but also to go about it in a different way, in a more holistic way. So I don't know what I just said, but there it is. However, it resonates with you. Yeah.
And we've been talking about this nonstop on basically every single podcast we do, that we can either embrace or reject the energy of war. And how do you do that? Is you look within yourself first. Do you have war going on inside your own heart? So that's where we are as a collective consciousness, or not. And we really dive deep into that in that July 8th episode of Demystifying Divinity that Joanna and I have already recorded, and it is scheduled to drop at 6 a.m. on the 8th. And I encourage all of you to deep dive into that. So for July of 2025, lots of retrogrades, which is fascinating because, again, I keep talking about Uranus and Gemini. We're getting to it. But tons of retrogrades in July as well. And so what do retrogrades encourage all of us to do? It's the planets urging us to re-look, reanalyze. And so on a collective level, to have all these retrogrades when all of this is dropping and we know what's happening in the news, even though we're not looking at the news. So fascinating that the planets are urging everyone, yes, even the upper beings, the people in charge, shall we say, the people in charge to relook, reanalyze. All of us are being encouraged to have the retrograde motion this month. Sorry, go ahead, Joanna.
I'm sorry, because when it drops, and then it leaves. We're being asked to not only ask ourselves the question, what is right for me, what is best for me, but also what is best for the collective. Yeah.
And fascinating that all of the retrogrades are in fire elements, and fire, as we know, is extreme passion.
Transformation.
And when you got a lot of fire, you're angry.
And transformation.
And you can
fire.
Yeah. Are you going to be angry or are you going to transform? All of us are being encouraged to do that, whether it's the people that are in charge or all of us on an individual level. The new moon's in Leo this month and the full moon's in Capricorn this month. Okay, so we got past that. Guess what's happening on July 7th? Very beginning of the month, right after the Independence Day. We have Canada Day on the 1st. July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. Okay, and now again, Joanna and I did a 1-hour deep dive into Uranus entering Gemini. I encourage all of you to listen to that. I will give you a quick little summary right now. Yes, it means new era. Yes, it means new world. Yes, there will be an impact on our relationships, the work that we do, where our mind's at. Ultimately, Uranus and Gemini on a personal level, it's the awakening to your higher self.
Grand new beginning for the collective.
Okay. So for those of us listening to podcasts like Demystifying Divinity, we're like, yes, okay. And I've been feeling it, and sure, it's been a lot, but okay, I'm on the road. For others that are not so interested in that, I have predicted it a lot, and I hate to say it, and we're not going to be fear-based, but I do predict mental health crisis.
This is what we've been talking about. It was said to me a couple of years ago.
Yes. Because the energy is so fast. Uranus and Gemini is so brilliant that you might feel like you're losing your mind, because it's these extremely brilliant downloads that our higher self is urging us. And that's what the planets have been doing all year, Joanna, is urging us to change because the world as we knew it is no longer going to be in existence. Dare I say it, July 7th onward? I mean, maybe that's a little too dramatic, but I'm saying this is the grand whoopa finale whoop. There it is. Okay. So it's like,
It just came in.
which
Healing.
Healing.
Healing. May I just, when I just drop this in,
You may.
in simpler terms, according to source, healing is the return to yourself. That's what healing is. Because when you return to yourself, you realize that you're not broken, that you are whole, which means all the distortions that we have been identifying with go bye-bye. It's effectively called ego death. Okay, there it is. I said it.
What? There it is. Sweet. It's a 90s hit that I dance.
There it is. That's it.
It's at every
You can tell the universe is funny. The
universe is funny.
Has a sense of humor. The universe does not minimize our pain. No. Absolutely not. Far from it. But the universe has a goddamn sense of humor. I'll be the first one to tell you.
It is true. And, we do urge you strongly on our weekly podcast here to embrace the change. There's a lot of change coming in, and it's coming in fast in 2025. And I believe it was the last podcast episode we did. We said that, that global event that happened in 2020, believe it or not, that was actually gentle compared to what's coming in for 2025, because the cosmos are urging us to make drastic, quick changes for what's to come. It's going to be a new world. It's going to be a new era, and life as you knew it is changing. And this July 7th, Uranus into Gemini is brilliant downloads, brilliant energy. The hive mind, so to speak. There's creative energies flowing all around us. Who's going to grab on? Are you connecting? Are you connecting to what's all around you? Are you going to poo-poo it? Oh, no, I can't do that. And if you're in ego and you're scared of everything, oh, I don't have enough money. Oh, I can't do that. You're going to let these things fly by you. And that's your higher self. Like, no more knocking on the door. This is your higher self. Like, let me in. Fear. Let me in. This is your future. Grab it and go.
May I just say something?
You may.
To that effect. Your soul will never force you, because your soul respects your free will.
Yes.
But your soul will nudge you and prompt you, because you're here to be here for a reason. You're here to grow and evolve. And wanting to stay the same is the same as saying, I don't want to grow, I don't want to evolve. Well, sorry, that ship has sailed. So if we are wanting to hold on to what is, without realizing that if we always hold on to what is, we can't evolve and we can't change. The more we hold on to that, the more challenging it's going to get, because we're going to experience a lot of resistance. Yes. The world is changing. But here's the thing. We all want change.
Yeah. Even if you think you don't.
Yes. Everybody wants to have something better. I'm not saying you're not here because you're not having a great time. But, most people, if you ask them, they want something to change in their lives. Something, right? Maybe because they want something more. To experience something more, you have to let go of something that you are holding on to that's less. So anyway, go ahead.
Yes. It was quite the intro. I got dramatic is what I got. But I feel like I've been teaching. I feel like I've been urging everyone to embrace these changes, and giving you flavors of what it might feel like, how it might show up. Because this one on July 7th, Uranus going into Gemini is the big kahuna, the big whammy, the big whoomp. There it is. And if you go and listen to our 1 hour episode of Uranus and Gemini, airing on July the 8th, you're going to hear us talking a lot about how we are going to embody this energy, and how we're going to make peace within our own hearts, because that is the only way to go toward what you want. If you want world peace, it has to begin within yourself. So, I'm making that message. I know I'm repeating myself already, and it is repeated in the July 8th episode, but we dive deep into that, and we urge all of you to follow that and to go toward your higher self. And the bottom line is, no, you are not losing your mind. You are finally finding yourself and
Even though
remembering who the hell you are.
even though it will feel like you're losing your
Yeah.
marbles. I'll be the first one to tell you.
Right. Okay. Are we ready for the all signs forecast, Joanna?
Let's do it.
Aries. Aries, all the retrogrades except for one. All the retrogrades are in your sign, Aries. Rethink, relook, reanalyze, redo. So for all of us, if you're still listening, the Aries house placement of your particular natal birth chart is where you're going to do all the rethinking and redoing. But for Aries, this is hitting you. Neptune goes retrograde on July 4th, 4th of July, Independence Day. It goes back into Pisces on October 22nd. Then it stations direct on December 10th at 29 degrees Pisces. So it is dipping back into Pisces. Saturn retrograde is retrograde on July 13th. And it goes back to Pisces on September 1. And then it stations direct on November 27 at 25 degrees Pisces. So we're getting little flavors of what Neptune and Saturn and Aries feels like, right? They're both retrograding back. The other one is Chiron, the wounded healer. Oh my gosh, and this is right on my Chiron return. Chiron stations retrograde on July 30th at 27 degrees of Aries, and then it stations direct at 22 degrees. That's my exact Chiron degree. On January 2nd, 2026. So retrogrades for you, Aries. Rethink it. You've got the time now. You've had so much energy in your sign, Aries, that it's been a lot. And I'm a hardcore Aries woman. Yeah, I just told you about my Chiron being there, but I've got my Sun and my Jupiter there as well. And so it's like a stellium, even though Chiron's not a proper planet, but I've been feeling it. Like I need to embrace this retrograde period. And I would encourage all of you Aries folks out there to do the same, because it's been a lot of energy going over our sun. So it's good. It's a good thing if you want to look at it that way. A lot of people look at retrogrades like, oh, poor me, and everything's going to get all screwed up. Okay, you can look at life that way if you want. But I'm looking forward to the retrograde period just to get some rest and give it a relook. Joanna, how are you feeling into this energy for Aries?
So the first thing that I want to say is that you are outgrowing your old costume or your identity. Okay. And the thing that wants to come through first and foremost is, although it may feel a little bit chaotic, fundamentally you are safe. Okay. Also, how you experience joy is in the process of changing. What once used to bring you joy, you're like, I don't know if I want that anymore. Not because it's bad, not because it's wrong, but because you are growing and you are outgrowing your old way.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll notice priorities are changing. No more of, oh, I can't do this. Oh, no more of that. Instead, I will, or I move on. So no more of this wishy-washy energy. And the card that came through, it's called Splendor. I just tuned in, so this is what I've got. But this is for those of you who are not able to see it, it's basically showcasing a being who is having a good time, feeling joyful. Solar
Good to
plexus
rest.
is being, healing solar plexus. So healing the ego wounds. Okay. Which, by the way, we all have. Okay. We're all having up. See, healing the human distortions. Okay. So that's what I have for.
It's good to take the rest.
yeah.
I'm in for it. Okay, we're ready for Taurus. Taurus. Uranus is leaving your sign on July 4th.
There it is.
Well, with this old 90s song won't die. Okay. So it's Uranus has been in your sign since May 15th, 2018. So for you hardcore Taurus folks, as we're recording this, Uranus is at 29 degrees of your sign. 29 degrees is the aneretic degree. It's that boiling point. It's that culmination point. It's that, oh my God, it's going to explode point. So for those of you with hardcore Taurus energy and you're listening to this going, oh my God, that's what's been going on for me, you're not losing your mind, because Uranus has been shaking it up since 2018 and now finally almost gone. So Joanna, you're a hardcore Taurus woman because you've got a stellium in Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Taurus sun sign person. You're feeling this culmination point. Please remember, Uranus seeks to liberate. Yes, it's shocking. Yes, it's surprising. Yes, you've never experienced this before. Absolutely. But Uranus seeks to liberate you. And what is liberation? That's freedom. Liberation is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So do know that freedom is coming to you, Taurus. But it feels like boiling point energy at the beginning, and it has for a while now, but for sure at the beginning of July, because Uranus is leaving your sign on July the 7th. And then on July the 4th, so again, at the very beginning of July, we've got Venus and Uranus. So Venus, your ruling planet, and Uranus are both at 29 degrees. So it's like, okay, what does this all mean? Like, your Venus is money, Venus is pleasure, Venus is joy, Venus is love, Venus is all things beautiful, but it's right next to Uranus. So like, sure, buy a lottery ticket. Sure. Yeah, because it's money and you might really surprise yourself. But it's like, just be open and be receptive, because Venus is the divine feminine. And be receptive and get into that meditative flow if you can, even if it means for a walk outside in nature, if that's the way you meditate, and be open to something shocking and surprising, and just say to the universe, I am open to being surprised and delighted by the universe, and get your nervous system. Just know that your nervous system can handle it, because you've got your ruler and Uranus at 29 degrees on July 4th, and then it leaves your sign on the 7th. So a lot going on for Taurus at the very beginning of the month. There it is. Okay. Joanna, take it away.
So like you said, I'm a Taurus, and I've been experiencing some profound experiences, and you're telling me that that's not the tip of the iceberg yet?
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying. I thought I'd wait till we recorded so that you can stay calm.
My mind is completely going to be blown into, shattered into 1,000 different pieces. So what I have for Taurus, not just me, is if you're a Taurus, you are unhooking from old ways. No more victim story.
Yeah.
No more victim story. You're taking your power back. You're saying yes to yourself and no to the things that used to limit you. But you've said no, you've said yes to those things all your life, or majority of your life, because that was your way of keeping yourself safe. That's not true safety. If you are diminishing your own sense of who you are, if you need to squash yourself or make yourself smaller in order to make peace, then you are the one that's suffering. No more that. You're not doing that anymore. You're coming out of your old box, thinking box. So Jenny knows I've been going through some profound experiences, and yes, at times it feels I have to check in with her just to make sure I'm not losing my marble. So it may mean to you, if you're a Taurus, that you are going to go through a process that will make you feel like you are slightly losing your shit. Mm-hmm. Not because something bad is happening outside of you, but because something profound is happening on the inside and you have no reference point for it. Okay? You might start seeing things multidimensionally. Until you actually have that experience, me just saying that to you, you have some sort of an idea what it is, but it's not an embodied experience. This is about an embodiment of what is to be you, not from the head, from the body. So it's dropping more into the body. And I have the message of fulfillment. So many of you are probably in a position where you are doing things that ultimately don't fulfill you. And you have your reasons for it, otherwise you wouldn't do it. This is not to say that you're going to drop all those things, but you're going to start to shift how you look at it. Okay? So if you've wanted to express more of yourself, but you've given yourself the reasons, I can't do this, I don't have time, the universe is going to create more time for you. The universe is going to give you some space in a way that may not be comfortable at first. Perhaps you will be released off your old job, the one that that's not fulfilling you. That's the universe's way of giving you what you're asking for. So at first it may feel dramatic and shocking, but at the end of the day, it's an opportunity to start something new. So there's nothing bad happening here. It's actually the opposite, but there is a bit of a shock to the system because humans don't generally like change, especially if it's a change that we didn't account for, or it's a change we didn't manipulate. I want change, but it has to come this way or that way and in this package. Yeah, that's the ego trying to control things. We're moving more into field where we are being moved by our soul more so than our intellect. Doesn't mean you lose your intellect, but you're in a space of embodying more of your soul. And that is a drastic switch. So that's what I have for Taurus.
That's beautiful.
I can certainly attest to that. Yeah.
I'm holding space for Joanna and my Taurus hubby who's going through it.
Oh,
And
that's right.
He doesn't listen to these podcasts. He doesn't know anything about astrology. He's going through it too.
So here's an interesting question for somebody who is not, for someone who doesn't identify with the whole spirituality thing, and it's a very normal human, regular person, what does he make of all of that?
He's very open, and so are a lot of other people, but they don't necessarily follow it. They don't know it. If my friends are, what's going on in the guys? And they don't necessarily follow it or understand what I'm saying.
They don't have labels for it.
There's no labels for it. They're not following it the way that I follow the pattern recognition, like I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to come around again. I'm very intrigued in that. And a lot of people aren't. And it doesn't mean that the people that are not watching and not listening, it doesn't mean all of them are going to have mental health crisis. Not at all. But some people might, and it might be very scary for them. But for others that are just sort of bopping along in life, expect spiritual awakenings, and it shocks people. Like, it's going to be shocking and surprising. Do keep in mind, it doesn't have to be a bad surprise. It doesn't have to be a bad shock, but it will shock you to your core, and it seeks to liberate you. Liberation equals freedom. Keep that in mind, however this energy is hitting you. And I can't say it enough. This is the energy update, the July 2025 energy, the one I've been working for.
And just to piggyback to what you're saying, until you have an embodied experience, there's only so much you can understand logically and conceptually. This is not about concepts anymore. This is about embodying. So just when you said it doesn't have to be anything bad, but life changing. So I'll just give you a very quick, last night I was having one of those waves, and I had a moment when I had a big ass realization. It's going to sound mad. I get it. But I have this awareness of how the universe works. I know it sounds preposterous, but it wasn't a mental thing. It was pouring out of my body. My body remembers. To your ego, who thinks its way around, it's shock to the system.
Yes.
Again, it's not conceptual, it's embodied.
Yeah.
It's energy moving through you. So
Brilliant
yeah.
downloads.
Oh, and it's so much coming all at
Fast
once.
and brilliant.
And it comes all around, not just linearly, like in linear fashion. So it's a lot of frequency hitting you all at once. And the nervous system is kind of sort of freaking out because your nervous system is not able to hold that much light all in one sitting.
This is what I'm talking about. So, Joanna, what did you do to ground it in and embody it in so that you can bring that forward to your clients? You can bring that forward to your personal life. You can bring that forward to the world. How do you ground that in when the brilliant download come into the body?
Well, I did what I did with you. I called Jenny and just said, hold my energy and just remind me that I'm not going crazy. Literally, that is what I did.
Okay, so find yourself a woo-woo bestie. That's a good tip. What's another good tip if you don't have a woo-woo bestie?
Breathe, ground yourself, touch something. Food, pet. You can ground yourself with food. You can pet your pet. Water. If you're outside, go touch a tree so they can absorb some of that energy. What you're experiencing is an overload of intense light.
Here. Perfectly said. You said, I can't put words to this. You just did.
Thank you.
And that's exactly what Uranus and Gemini is doing for everyone. Now, you might not experience it the same way Joanna experiences it. Like I'm experiencing it in a different way than Joanna. And we're both extremely woo-woo. So it's like, just know that this is brilliance that we have never known. And it's our higher self urging us to grasp onto it.
There's no frame reference for it. Nope. Not in this lifetime, at least. Not for many, many, many lifetimes, because it has been the case long thousands. No, we have not.
We haven't known this.
Yes.
And so now we have podcasts to coach you and train you to be like, okay, I have been watching the stars. And Joanna's like, well, I've been channeling into July. And then you get together and you make podcasts about it and you talk about it like every single Tuesday on our podcast. And you try to make sense about it.
So ground yourself, find yourself a friend who's not going to judge you, who's not going to add to your 1111. And I just literally asked Jenny to hold my energy. And I said to her, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I'm being told you're going to know exactly what to do. And I didn't ask you how to do it or tell you, you just did it.
And it's so funny because right when she called me and did that, by the way, and it's 11:11 on my phone.
I know.
I was waiting for my son at his basketball. So I was waiting in my car and there was a rain cloud like only over my car. And it poured rain only on my car.
That's funny.
And I'm like, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's all these little signs. We got this. We've got this. Okay. Gemini. It's all about you, Gemini. Oh, Gemini, talk to your Taurus friend. Because Uranus just went through their sign and now Uranus is going to go through your sign until May of 2033.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So it's going to dip back where, again, this is what these big outer planets do. They dip in for a few months, they dip back to where they've been. So it's going to be going back to Taurus, Joanna. Or we'll talk about that in future forecasts. But I'm just saying, okay? Gemini, it's coming. Gemini, you're already brilliant, okay? Gemini, know you, okay? You're hilarious, you're fun, you're multitasking, you are so flexible, you can see two sides of a story. But if you thought you were smart before, Gemini, holy macaroni, Gemini, and I'm full body goosebumped, okay? July 4th, Venus enters your sign, okay? Venus. It likes being there. This is playful in relationships. This is communicative in your relationships. This is flexible within your relationships. Not just love, friend, okay, or the way you show up at work. Venus is going to be there for you July 4th on an Independence Day, okay? And another thing about Venus in Gemini, this is a well-known astrology fact, dirty talk. Embrace the dirty talk, okay? Because Gemini, you know how to dirty talk and you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Then a few days later, July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini. And again, that's until May of 2033. It'll be dipping back to Taurus and all that jazz, but it's going to be there for a long time, and it's going to shake it up for you, Gemini. It's going to completely surprise and delight. So just be that, let that be your mantra, Gemini. I am open to the surprises and the delights from the universe. Ground your nervous system, because Uranus is shocking energy. It is earthquake energy. Yes. So like on a global scale, yes, it is. Yes, it is earthquake energy, but also on a personal level, earthquake for you, Gemini. And so embrace it, because you signed up for this, to have Uranus going over your sun sign in this life. You've got this, Gemini. And I will remind you again before I turn it over to Joanna. Gemini, you are brilliant already, but with Uranus entering your sign, you're going to be next level genius. And so let that be your mantra, that I am open and available for my future self, my higher self, to download the information, because I can handle it, and I am going to bring it forward to the world and in my life. You've got this, Gemini. Joanna, tell us.
I love what you're saying. So one of the first things that I received was opening up the heart. So collectively, we are all moving more towards living from the heart, not to lose our mind completely. Well, we are losing it, but that's beside the point. It's living more in our heart, because our heart is far more intelligent than our limited human mind. The human mind is important. It does its job, but it shouldn't be our boss. And in most cases, it is. So you are moving more towards opening up your heart space. Protect your space, not because there is something dangerous, but because the image I have was somebody poking you, and you used to, it's kind of annoying, but you used to never really say anything. You just kind of took it. Now you're like, fuck no. I said no, okay? Get it? This is the kind of energy.
Well, there it is. Again, that is true.
The other thing,
The energy.
the other message how I want to say it is, this is not a collapse. This is a revealing energy. So if something is tumbling, it's because something is being revealed in its place. And they're giving me a beautiful analogy. There are some seeds in the forest that will only grow after fire has gone through it. So we're not saying something bad is going to happen, but we are all in the process of collapsing old structures. This is why we're seeing so much chaos, because we are no longer willing to put up with bullshit and nonsense. So you are in that energy when you're choosing to no longer put up with bullshit and nonsense. And the other thing is, if you have any challenges or unhealed wounds around the sense of belonging, feeling like you don't belong, feeling like you're an outsider, feeling like you are too woo for other people to see you, because if they were to see you, they would abandon you. What happens in those cases is, more often than not, you stop denying your true self to yourself. So you become separated from your truth. This is about bringing all those aspects of you that you've separated back to you. I could say it differently. This is radical self-love. Now, self-love is not about buying roses, having some beautiful baths. Those two, but that's not what self-love is. Self-love can feel very raw and very messy.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love is when you stop abandoning yourself.
Yeah.
When you look in your dark corners and you acknowledge that you have some shadows, not because they're bad, but because all this time they've been trying to protect you. And choosing to look at them as your allies, not your enemy. When you have an enemy, you want to push it away from you. When you have an ally, you want it close to you. That's what self-love is. Radical self-acceptance. So, including the monsters hiding in the closet. Because the monster that's hiding in a closet, all it wants to do, it wants to be acknowledged, and it wants to be loved by none other than you. That's what self-love is.
And how do you recognize the monsters? It's that thing that keeps
Things you hide from.
bugging you,
The things you hide from.
bothering the
things
crap
you
out
want
of
to
you.
get rid of. Somebody said to me the other day, how do I get rid of all these feelings? And I said, that's not, doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You have to allow yourself to be present with it. Well, I don't want to feel that. Well, okay, then resist it. Radical self-love is hard at first because we're not used to loving the parts of ourselves that we have vilified or denied. But here's how I'm going to say it. I'm going to drop that word even though I don't like the word. This is what it means to be loved unconditionally. That's how God loves you and I and everybody. Yeah. What if you want to substitute the word for source? By all means, please do that. Yeah. This is what it means to be unconditionally loved. Humans don't know what that is because they don't love themselves unconditionally. That's just the way it is. Yet. I have hope. Anyway, so that's you, Gemini.
Got it, Gemini. Got a big assignment and you can do it. Okay, Cancer. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Venus enters Cancer on July 31st. So it goes through Gemini the whole month, right? And then Venus enters your sign at the very, 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 very end. Okay, this is Venus loves being in Cancer, and then you're going to experience that through August. We'll talk about that in the next update as well. It's very nurturing. Venus being in Cancer is very nurturing, very supportive, emotionally fulfilling, grounded, and all that stuff, you know, like being at home. So that's great. And it's, you know, and it's your birthday month. So that's great. Let's just embrace all that because you got Jupiter in your sign, making things all that much bigger. So it's up to you, Cancer, right? Like it's up to you. Do you want to expand all the negative stuff? Or do you want to expand all the positive stuff? It's totally up to you, Cancer, because you've got Jupiter there in your sign.
And there's no judgment. There's no judgment. No. Whichever way you go, no judgment.
It is a gift. It is a gift to have Jupiter going through your sign for as long as it is. So it's up to you. So just check in with yourself. How's that going?
My turn? Yes. Okay. So Cancer, this is an opportunity for you to see things clearly.
Yeah.
Not because you haven't seen them clearly, but because you've denied yourself the clarity. So letting go of pretending that something is not there. Oh, no, I don't see it. No. Oh, yeah, you see it. You just don't want to see it. That's different. You owe it to yourself to be honest with yourself. Because if you're not honest with yourself, then how do you navigate the world if you're not honest with yourself? I don't understand that, right? We all do it, by the way. We all do it.
It's a reoccurring theme for each sign.
And we'll go in a spiral.
It's time.
No more denying.
No.
That's it.
It's true. It's pretty straightforward. That was exactly the message I got for Cancer.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same for you. It's like, because Cancer is the crab, right? So it can be it's so soft and mushy inside, but this hard shell.
Yeah.
And when you see a crab on the beach, it goes to the side, right?
Yeah.
So look, are you going to do that, Cancer? And you have every right to do that. If you just want to get in your shell and hide away, you have every right to do it. Or you could feel all the feels, Cancer.
Mm-hmm. This is the message that Source, universe, God, whatever name you want to choose, your guides and angels, this is the message for you, Cancer. We love you no matter what you choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's unconditional love. They may not agree with your choices. They love you anyway.
Yeah.
Your life is your life. It belongs to you. You're the boss of your life. God damn it, you better be. Because if you're not, who is?
Who is then? Beautiful. You got this, Cancer.
Yes, you do.
Leo, happy birthday.
Oh, my Leos. I have two.
I
have two in my family.
We've got Leos.
Yeah.
You've got Leos. The sun enters Leo on July 22. And this is an interesting one. So this is the other retrograde, July 18th. So just before the sun enters your sign on July 18th, Mercury goes retrograde, and that'll be all month long. It'll go direct on August 11th. So all month long, basically, you've got Mercury retrograde in your sign. So it's a lot for you to rethink, Leo. It's a lot for you to redo. It's a lot for you to reanalyze, Leo. It's up to you to do that. No one's going to do your dirty work for you, Leo. Okay, I'm getting bossy here. It's because I'm an Aries sun sign, so I got the fire just the way that you have the fire, Leo. And all of the retrogrades, the other ones are all happening in Aries, and it's inviting me to take a little hot rest and for me to take a little hot look at all the things too. Aries and Leo are getting hit with the retrogrades. I mean, we all are, but it's time for you to rethink it. And it's Mercury, and that's your thinking, and that's your communication. Rethink the way you communicate, Leo. Rethink the way you think, Leo. And then July 24, we've got the new moon at 2 degrees, Leo. So the new moon's in your sign. And then on July 31, we've got the sun conjunct Mercury. So the Mercury is retrograde, but the sun is going to be right next to Mercury at 9 degrees in your sign. So there's a lot going on for you, Leo. I remember in previous updates, it's like, oh, not much for Leo. Isn't that nice? Well, there's a lot for Leo in July. Okay. And it's a lot for you to take some responsibility for, Leo. What do you think, Joanna?
I'm actually trying not to think. Okay. That's not what I'm best at.
Feel into it.
Yes, that's literally what it is. Leo, 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 Leo. What can I say? You are a very, very, very loving soul. You feel a lot, and sometimes it's just too much. You were designed not to absorb other people's feelings, but to be sensitive to your environment. This is how you navigate. So the first message is embrace your sensitivity. Sensitivity is a double-edged sword. My gift is a double-edged sword. I feel a lot. So I used to live in my head, even though I'm not a Leo, but specifically around Leo, embrace your sensitivity. This is a time of recalibration. Yes. You are recalibrating from inside out. It's almost as if you're giving yourself permission to be truly who you are, not to please other people, but to please you. God damn it, I'm going to be myself. I don't care what you think. Now, obviously, I'm not saying being yourself means you walk around and punch people in the face, because that's not really your true self. That's your distorted ego. I'm not talking about that. But if you have been hiding because there is some part of you that says, I'm not enough, so I have to expend all this energy to perform in order to be loved and accepted, I feel that's going to start dropping. And it's not because it's going to start dropping. You're going to choose and decide that you are no longer going to live in someone else's shadows, or in your shadows for that matter. So it's a time of your shadows revealing themselves to you, not for you to get rid of your shadows, but for you to accept your shadows and to embrace your shadows. And what happens when you embrace your shadows are no longer in control of you. Yeah. They become your allies. And I said this in one of my videos. Think of shadows as giving you depth and dimension. Shadows give our life depth and dimension. If we didn't have depth and dimension, it would all be flat. So, however it comes about for you, thank you. It's about accepting your again, the word liberation, liberating yourself from your shadows. Not because you're getting rid of your shadows, but you are choosing to no longer live by your shadows, controlled by your shadows. Yes. That's what self-love is. Mm-hmm. It's not getting rid of your shadows. It's no longer being controlled by your shadows.
I love it because Leo is so bright. It's the brightest. Leos are the brightest.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find that for a lot of Leo people, it's very difficult for them to look at their shadows because they are so bright. Leos are the brightest.
That makes sense.
And so it doesn't mean that you're less of a person if you look at the dark.
No, we all
No.
have it. Everyone has it.
Everybody has shadows. And, you know, yes, you're bright. Keep being bright, Leo. We love your brightness. But sometimes you got to look at the dark.
Yes. And here's what another message that wants to come through. Don't chase perfection. Recognize that underneath all your distortion, you are already that. That's how Source sees you.
Yeah.
They're saying, that's it. End it right there. Boom. Let it range. Let it.
That's our favorite.
The other thing I wanted to say is that when I'm speaking and I'm giving you a message, pay attention more so than the words. Pay attention to how your body responds to the energy, because the frequency is speaking louder than the words. Because right now what I'm doing is I'm transmitting frequency that goes directly into your etheric field, into your energetic body. So sometimes you'll hear words, but they'll just kind of smack by you, but you'll feel something. You'll just pay attention to that.
Beautiful. It's a transmission.
Yes.
Virgo. Virgo, you've got the South Node and Mars together, meeting up exact and very close at the end of the month. But Mars is in your sign, so is the South Node. That's a lot of energy for you, Virgo. So speaking of perfectionism, Virgos can suffer from this. It can be quite the Virgo trait. And so with the South Node going through your sign and with Mars going through your sign all of July, and then again, they meet up together at the end of July in your sign. I highly urge you not to go down the shame spirals that Virgo can do. Because Virgos, you know, in your highest expression, you are the earth angels. You are the most pure of the humans. And so stay pure, drink the water, stay grounded, keep your thoughts pure. You know, we're going to go through retrogrades, all of us. Maybe it's not going through your particular sign, Virgo, but we're going through retrogrades in July, and it's a really good time for you to rethink, relook, and reanalyze that perfectionism stuff that might be creeping up with Mars going through there. So yeah, again, on July 23rd, the South Node and Mars are 1 degree apart, and they're squaring Venus in Gemini. So watch your words. I will urge you, Virgo, watch your words and your fighting words and your hating words. Because Gemini is the way you speak, the way you write, like sending off that text or being the keyboard warrior or whatever. You know, like just be careful, Virgo. Because you're probably right. Virgos are usually right, to be honest with you. You're probably right, but does it mean you need to say it? Does it really mean you need to say it?
That's right.
Because I keep saying this because South Node is the energy that all of us collectively are being urged to relook. Wherever the South Node is, we're all being asked to look at the shadow vibe of that particular sign, right? And then you've got Mars there. Mars is one of the malefics, right? And it's can be war. It can be fighting. So it's two like quote negative energies. Yeah, you choose. If not, Mars gives you the life force energy to make a change, make a decision, have some clarity. South Node gives you that same direction. It's like, oh yeah, okay, no, that was something I chose in the past. Yeah, maybe I was a bully or something like this, right? Maybe I did those things in the past and I'm not proud of them and I've said sorry and I'm not that anymore. That isn't me. That doesn't define me. That's how you can embrace South Node Mars energy. If you choose, you take radical responsibility for yourself. So how are you feeling into this one, Joanna?
Yes. You're awesome. Yes. 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 Here's a question. Do you believe it? If you need to prove something, I've got to prove, ask yourself, why? Why do you need to prove something so much? Is it because you're seeking approval? Because if you're seeking approval, then that means only one thing. You're looking for validation, which means you're not self-validating. You're not, you don't have a strong sense of I. Having strong sense of I doesn't mean you're right all the time, but it means you're fairly solid, but you're also open and flexible. There's an energy of approval, proving or disapproving or approval. If you're someone who constantly seeks to prove, I gotta prove my point. I gotta just kind of ask yourself, why is it so important for me to prove my point? Yeah. It's also a time for recalibration. Try not to be so controlling. We all humans have a tendency to control when we are living out of our shadows. Okay. Control always leads to one thing and one thing only: safety and security. Right? So letting go of control is difficult, but the idea isn't to let go of control completely. The idea is not to try to control things you cannot control. For example, you cannot control how somebody feels about you. Ain't gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. If you show up at your best without trying to prove yourself to anybody, which means you have to have a strong sense of I, and somebody doesn't agree with you or doesn't like you, that does not mean that you are somehow less than. It just means they're just not jiving with your energy. Take it so personally. We have a tendency to take it personally. Right? So just kind of observe those things. It's a very interesting time to kind of go, I never thought about it this way before. And that has that potential to completely shift. And we are right now shifting paradigms. This is what this is all about. So, does that make sense?
It does. Did we get a card? Did we show that card?
Oh, there's actually 3. Surrender, so let go of control. Okay. Be open to new beginning.
Yeah.
And don't be resistance to seeing things clearly.
Beautiful. Okay. I love it.
And the other thing I wanted to say, which was that just reminded me, you might benefit from having some crystals around you. I was seeing crystals with Virgo, crystals. I mean, everybody can benefit, but specifically I got it for crystals, for Virgo. So if you're into crystals, just let your intuition guide you.
Beautiful. Libra. There's nothing in your sign, Libra. There's nothing squaring your sign, Libra. However, you don't get a break. Across the road in Aries, you've got Neptune, Saturn, and Chiron, all going retrograde. So Libra and Aries, you always work together. And I know this energy so well. So Aries is always your helper. Aries is always your helper, Libra, right? And so across the road, we've got these 3 honkers, like these 3 big deals going through retrograde. And so you, Libra, are being urged strongly by the cosmos, as we all are, because they're going to retrograde for everybody. But since it's opposing you, that means it's the oppositional energy. That means, are you going to fight or not? Are you just going to say, okay, that's your decision and go on your merry way? Or are you going to fight, Libra? Are you going to fight? Because that's what opposing energy does.
Yeah.
And if you have oppositional planets in your natal birth chart, whatever the signature is, that's where you are either fighting or not your whole life. You're either going to fight it or not your whole life. It's up to you.
Oh.
It's up to you, Libra.
Oh.
Tell us, Joanna, what's coming through.
So it's interesting because it's not that you're spared from life because you have no planets in your sign.
Yeah.
It's just you're likely going to experience it slightly differently than most signs. And what I was shown is you are coming full circle, but it's quiet. There's no drama. And then I wrote, avoid drama at all cost.
Yes.
So if you are into drama, that's going to be amplified. What I'm sensing is that right now the energy is amplifying everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. So during this time, you're going to be seeing in your experience what energies you're working with. So if you are attracting a lot of drama into your life, you are attracting drama based on your frequency. It's not a good or bad. It's just universal mechanics. It's how it works. There's no judgment around it.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to put stop to internal drama that then puts stop into external drama. What is the absence of drama? You ask. I'm glad you're asking. Well, nothing other than peace. And when you have internal peace, there can be things happening in the world, but your experience of what is happening in the world is different. Because you are then not reacting, you are responding. And responding often works way better than reacting. Sometimes we need to react. When something is chasing you, you can react. Yes, run. But for the most part, reaction isn't necessarily the best tool. It's good, but for the most part, we're better off from responding. So ask yourself, if you're faced in a situation, ask yourself, am I reacting, which is usually out of fear or out of distortion? Or am I responding, which is from a space of peace and wisdom? And I feel like that's all I want to say.
And that is so you, Libra.
Oh,
My Venus.
And the message is surrender.
Surrender. Beautiful. You got this, Libra.
Yeah.
I know you know how to do
By
this.
the way, surrender does not mean giving up.
Right.
Surrender simply means stop wasting your energy. If you're wasting your energy, stop wasting your energy. The end.
Scorpio, no planets, but it's the ongoing story, Scorpio, of Lilith in your sign. So at the beginning of the month, we've got Lilith T-squaring Mercury in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius. So it's a T-square between those two. So this can bring up for you, Scorpio, your deepest desires. Okay. Act on them. What are your deepest desires? What do you truly want? Act on them. Otherwise, you might rebel, because that's Lilith. Lilith rebels when she's not getting her way. And she can act like not a toddler, but a teenager.
And she's fierce. My understanding is that she's fierce.
Fierce, but she brings so much passion to you. And to follow that passion, there's that famous saying, follow your bliss. Well, Lilith is urging you to follow your passion, like with fire and piss and vinegar. And you're probably feeling it bubbling, Scorpio, because it's going through your sign, right? And so there's an opportunity here. We'll call it an opportunity in the month of July that if you haven't been following your passion, you might rebel. You might rebel.
And apparently she doesn't mince words.
Lilith is an interesting one.
She runs a little bit of Kali, an energy of Kali.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
So you've got that story going on, and it's been going on. It's not just July, but what's happening in July is you might be feeling this culmination point and the boiling point, and then you act like a silly little willy teenager. If you catch my drift. Joanna, what are you feeling there for Scorpio?
What I'm getting is that you kind of are in the middle of your own process. So it's going to continue. Whatever we're talking about is going to continue for the next few months, but it's already been about 3 months. That's kind of what I'm getting. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know the Okay. So
yes.
The first thing that came was, am I going to be okay or enough? So if there is a story, if there is a distortion inside of you that says that you're not enough, and when you feel not enough, you're always going to be questioning, am I going to be okay? Then that's something that wants to bubble up to the surface in order to be looked at. Here's the deal. You are enough. The question is, do you see it? Well, no, I'm not. No. Stop the noise. That's your distortion talking. You are more than enough. And when a person says, I am not enough. What they're essentially saying is, I am not enough to be loved. No, you already are. Problem is, you're not being loved by you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your homework. That's everybody's homework as far as I'm concerned. But Scorpio, that's your homework. Writing, expression through writing. And when you were talking about Lilith, I was getting she doesn't mince words. You're very expressive. So maybe express, journal, write. There's a lot of energy that wants to move through you. Cream in the pillow, punch, not a person, punch a pillow, do breath work, anything to expel a lot of energy, because I feel like as a vessel, you're used to holding so much on to this energy. And that can be very not good for the physical body, never mind your mental body or emotional body. It just becomes too much.
Yes.
When there's a lot of unexpressed energy, this is why, and I'm not a doctor, so I'm not diagnosing anything, but this is where we get mental breakdowns. It's too much. It's too much. Right. So there's a lot of unexpressed energy that wants to move through you. Your homework, if you will, is to find a way to move that energy in a safe environment. In a safe environment, because until you feel safe, you're not going to be able to express. Okay? Spiritual practice. So if you don't have any spiritual practices, okay, defines, okay, universe, what do you mean by spiritual practice? Anything you want it to mean, but it means one thing. Get to know yourself. Be with yourself. Don't run away from being with yourself. Actually, be with yourself. Most people run away from being with themselves is because they're scared of looking at their shadows. Meet your shadow and say, okay, you believe that I'm not enough. Okay, tell me about it. Where do you come from? Have a conversation with your shadow. It's an amazing time to not get rid of your shadows, but to transform the energy of a shadow so it becomes your ally. Because on the other side of that energy is tremendous power. You are holding on to so much power, and you're trying to externalize that. Power doesn't come from out there. It comes from within you. But at first, what's required is your recognition of that this is already who you are. First and foremost. Not what you've been told, not what you've been told. That's the distortion. No more trying to prove yourself. Now, if you go to the bank and they need to give you a loan, you have to prove. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you deep down believe that you are somehow not good enough and therefore you always live in fear of being abandoned, that is a horrible way to live. And you know how I know that? Right here. Right here. Been there, done that. Thank you very much. So this is making peace with yourself. Honoring yourself, honoring your needs. Your needs are important. Your expression is important.
And get it out. We need it. We need it, Scorpio. We need that passion express.
Some of you are very artistic, very expressive, and it just wants to flow. The world would feel shortchanged if it didn't have your level of expression, is what I'm hearing.
We need Scorpio energy.
Yeah. So anything that you can do, call it spiritual practice, whatever, to get to know yourself, to be with yourself, 'tis the season.
Good one. Sagittarius. Okay. Nothing in your sign all month, but Uranus just entered Gemini across the road. So this is that oppositional energy that I was talking about between Libra and Aries. So Sagittarius and Gemini are exactly opposite. Okay. So this is oppositional energy for you, Sagittarius. It's beginning July 7th, Sagittarius. You're not used to this yet. Okay, because it didn't go through your sign and hasn't been opposing your sign. Now it's opposing your sign, Sagittarius. Okay. So it's that if you have oppositional planets in your natal birth chart, you know this energy well. It's like, will I fight or won't I fight? Am I going to cause drama? Am I just going to walk away from the drama, right? So Sagittarius, you're going to be feeling this very strongly early July. and then until 2033, when
Oh, wow.
done opposing you, right? And Gemini brings so much communication, so many words, so much writing. And Sagittarius can be black and white thinking. It can be. It doesn't have to be that way, Sagittarius, because the world is gray. So how are you going to embrace and embody this extremely shocking, surprising, liberating energy from Uranus across the road from you? If you are wise and you're into astrology and all the things, you know that Gemini is a helper for you. Your whole life, Gemini is a helper for you. Gemini energy, because it's not really you. Sagittarius is you are the great teacher, but Gemini is loves to learn. So I encourage you, Sagittarius, to learn a little bit. Open up your heart, open up your mind. When your heart is open, your mind is open. When your mind is open, your heart is open. And the world is not black and white. The world is gray. And you're going to be feeling this pretty deeply early July. What are you picking up on, Joanna?
Well, essentially what I'm picking up is what you're saying. Some things cannot be intellectually understood. Because I saw in a vision of somebody saying, prove it to me, like show me to me, I don't understand. And the message was, this box is very limited. Okay. Sometimes you will not be able to understand how something works or why it works the way it does. Your choice is either to accept it or deny it. Okay. So I'm not saying get out of your logical thinking, but sometimes, for example, oftentimes healing happens when we let go of trying to understand. Because healing is not a concept. Healing is embodied. Okay. So you may not understand how healing works, and you may never truly understand conceptually how healing works. The question is, do you want to heal or do you want to understand it? Those are your two choices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you want to understand it, just so you know, you may never be able to understand it because you don't have a box for it. But on the other hand, if you want to heal, allow it. Okay. Which means you don't always have to be right. There's a need to be right. I also saw for some of you choices around where your income is going to come from. And that's interesting because the card of prosperity came up.
Oh.
So there is some changes to how you earn your money or where you make your earning from, or where you make your living from. It doesn't feel like drastic changes, but anything that is changing when it has to do with money, safety, and security, it's a little bit unnerving because we're dealing with primal stuff, right? So, but what I'm getting, there's no lack of choices. It's you deciding which one should I choose. If you can, let your heart lead the choice, not so much your thinking. Because your heart knows, your heart is connected to your soul. Your soul already knows your path. In fact, if you just go, okay, soul, lead me, you will never do anything wrong in life. And if it happens to be wrong, it's because it's a mistake you needed to learn from. Mistake is not proof that you did something wrong. Mistake basically says there's an opportunity for you to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's some choices or some decisions coming up around where you earn a living or how you earn a living. It doesn't seem drastic, but there is a bit of that. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, some things just cannot be intellectually understood. And in fact, what we were talking about at the very beginning, where people are going to think that they're going crazy because they're going to try to understand what is happening, but we don't have these boxes for. We don't have boxes for it yet. You know, if, for example, if you start hearing things, but you're not used to hearing things, if you start seeing things, but you're not used to seeing things, you might actually go, am I going fucking crazy? Right? If you go to a regular doctor, chances are they're going to say, well, let's put you on some medication. I'm not here to say do or don't. I'm just saying what we are going through worldwide, we don't have boxes for it yet. So I feel like that's how I want to end it.
Well said.
You've got this, though.
Capricorn.
You've got this.
Got this. Okay, Capricorn.
Speaking of Sagittarius, that's my rising sign.
Yeah, I'm North Node Saggy. Big time. Capricorn. So we have had many conversations on this on these energy updates about how happy we are for you, Capricorn, because you had Pluto going through your sign and all the things and da 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 da. Well, we're still happy for you, Capricorn, but there's a full moon at 18 degrees in your particular sign on July the 10th. So like Uranus enters Gemini on July 7th. 3 days later, there's a full moon. What? And we all know what happens at full moons, right? Like, the hospitals are full, the babies are born. It's called the lunatics for a reason, because at a full moon, people feel like, quote, lunatics, because 6 months earlier, they felt a strong urge to write a new moon intention, to write that intention, to feel into the intention, to embody the intention, plant it into the proverbial ground, the dark ground under the dark sky, so that in 6 months' time, the harvest is there. So oftentimes people at a full moon go to find this proverbial harvest and it's not there. It hasn't manifested, and you knew it. You knew 6 months ago you should have set those intentions. You knew you should have started that thing 6 months ago. So therefore you feel like a lunatic. And that's the lunar cycle that we always see, 6 month sign, right? Something shows up or it doesn't. And it's at the 18-degree mark. Now, I'm a strong believer in the degree theory in astrology, and the 18-degree mark, which is like all over my birth chart, is a very difficult degree. It's the Virgo degree. And the Virgo, we were talking about Virgo when we went through the Virgo sign. In the shadow vibe of Virgo, all signs have high vibration and shadow vibration. And low vibe Virgo, which is the 18-degree mark, can be like so nitpicky, so perfectionist, right? And so you might be feeling that at this full moon, like, oh, I didn't start the thing. I didn't do the thing 6 months ago. And now here's the full moon. And we've just had Uranus changing signs 3 days before this full moon. So there might be a lot of lunatics at this full moon on this hard degree. Not you, Capricorn, because you are the goat, right? The goat goes up the mountain. You're the ones that do the hard work. You have the strongest work ethic. So not you, Capricorn. You're not going to feel like a lunatic after this ginormous move of Uranus into Gemini, and then 3 days later, a full moon in your sign. I know you're not going to feel like a lunatic, right? Right, Joanna?
Okay. So this is very interesting because I perceived it slightly in a different way. So the very first thing I noticed energetically, because I speak with energy, is that if you're Capricorn, you did not allow me to see you. You are emotionally not available. You're protecting yourself. And that means that you are emotionally not accessible. If you are emotionally not accessible, it's because you are afraid to feel. Which means at some point you felt and it fucking hurt. So you did this. You closed the door to feel it. Doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a person, a human being who's trying to avoid getting hurt. But if you live in avoidance of getting hurt, you are not open to receiving ultimately what every human wants. And it's to be loved. So, is it you? Are you trying to protect yourself by not being emotionally available, or you are not open for people to see you? If that's the case, ask yourself the question, why? And that may not be easy to see for somebody right away, but I'm dropping, I'm planting a seed for some reflection. Okay. And of course, there is zero job. Our job, my job as Joanna and Jenny's job is to help you realize your fucking greatness, okay? And in order for you to embody your greatness, you have to stop living from your distortions. So, of course, you're a lovable person. The question is, once again, do you love yourself? What's interesting is the capacity to love came up in reverse. You're holding yourself back. No, I don't hold myself back. Okay. Are you experiencing the love you would like to experience? Well, no, because this, not. You will draw to you what you are vibrationally connected to, what you are aligned with. The universe wants to fucking love the shit out of you. But if you don't allow it, you won't allow it, and the universe cannot go against your free will. So it feels like a big message. It's not a heavy message, but it's a big message. One that has the potential to free or liberate you from yourself, from your distortions.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who's been guarded and shielded, you might want to just sit with yourself and muse. Why do I guard myself? What am I afraid of? If you're afraid of people hurting you, then what you are saying essentially is that thing that happened in your past, you're living in it over and over and over. You're in that energy still, which means that hasn't been healed yet. It hasn't been transmuted and transformed. In order for you to open up, you have to transmute that old energy. Otherwise, you're living in your past. So that is the message I have for you. And
that's a powerful one, Capricorn.
It feels very loving and just very gentle. Like I just want to present it to you on a little soft pillow. There's no judgment. It's just love towards you. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Aquarius, Pluto's going through your sign, for a long, long time. And then the sun will be opposite Pluto on July the 25th. So, because the sun's over there in Leo.
Sorry, which sign are we doing right now?
We're doing Aquarius. Because Pluto's in your sign, and then the sun is in Leo at the end of July. So it'll be exactly opposite Pluto, right? So it's that Aquarius, you ain't got nothing going on except for Pluto going through your sign. And then, so there's that. But then you've got that oppositional energy. We've been talking about that actually a lot on almost each and every single one of these zodiac signs. So you've got that oppositional energy, Aquarius. Now it's up to you. Are you going to fight? Are you going to do the drama? If the sun over in Leo is like very courageous, very proud, it can be you can be stuck in your ego in the Leo avenue. And this energy because this is exactly opposite your sign, Aquarius, right? Like your whole life, you can draw from Leo's courage, from Leo's bravery, from Leo's shine. You can draw from that. Or you can get into that oppositional energy, especially at the end of July. If you're fighting with friends, drama, stuff, not stepping into your courage. But do know that with Pluto going through your sign all these years, it is transforming you, right? So even if you always did the thing, and you felt this oppositional energy with Leo, and you always fight with girlfriends or whatever it is, right? Even if you've always done it, Pluto's coming through your sign, taking it damn time going through your sign, completely changing you. You don't need to be defined by the old you, Aquarius. Just keep that in mind with whatever's coming up for you this month. There's a lot of cosmic energy. We started the whole podcast talking about Uranus going through Gemini, Pluto going through your sign. I mean, for you, you are not the same person you once were. Are you embracing that? Joanna, take it away.
So right away, what I'm noticing, this is the first time I've noticed it, at least in this podcast, as we're talking about Aquarius, I have a slight ache in my right hip. Okay. And when I tuned into it, I mean, some of it may be mine, but it just came up. So I'm listening to it. That might be something, some old energy that wants to be expressed. So I often tell clients and show them how you can communicate with your own body and with your own pain. You literally tune in a meditative state to your discomfort and ask the discomfort to share with you what it's about, what it needs from you. Our bodies are intelligent. They communicate to us all the time. The problem is we're not listening. So that's one part of the message. The other part is, if this resonates with you, I feel like you're waiting for something. It's like you're waiting. And the message I got was, rather than waiting for something, give yourself permission. So here's an analogy. If you are not holding on to the limitations that you think define you, what would you choose to do? If you were like childlike, without all the conditioning, and you were just in this expressive inner childlike state, what would you want to do? Oh, I can't think that way. Well, why not? And Jenny and I talked about this. We had a workshop one time where I said, your inner child is your fucking creative genius. Your inner child is your creative genius. Tune into your inner child and ask him or her, first and foremost, what it needs from you. Generally, it's recognition, not from outside, from inside. And then once your inner child has this recognition, which is, by the way, you recognizing yourself, once you recognize yourself, which means you're not here to prove anything to anybody anymore. Thank you very much. Been there, done that. No, thank you. What would you want to do? What would you want to do? What would you want to create? I'd want to go on vacation, but I don't have the money. Okay. All right. At least we have a start. Okay. You'd want to go on vacation. Okay. Put that on your vision board. Do you trust the universe? Well, yes. Good. Put it on the board. Let the universe handle the details. Your job is to tune into your resistance to it. If money is a problem, let's look at the resistance you have around finances. Are there fear-based conditioning around money? Because if you have fear-based, and by the way, you don't need to travel because to have money. I mean, this is what we tend to. But the universe has amazing ways of giving us what we need outside of our thinking strategies. Now, for the mind, is like, well, that can happen. Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it does. You want to know how? Just ask Jenny how she manifested $35,000 in a way she hasn't thought about in like days.
Yeah, I did.
Because she was open and she trusted the universe. She just said, I'm going to manifest it. I don't care how. If it's aligned, the universe is going to show me how. Thank you very much. Done. Am I saying something incorrect? This is what
You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah. So if you're waiting to manifest something for yourself, know the intention, not what you manifest, the shape your manifestation wants to take, or how you want your manifestation to be shaped. And then ask yourself the question, what is inside of me that's resisting this right now? Because generally, whatever the things is that we want, we are usually resistant to. Okay, so what are you resisting? Aquarius, what are you resisting? What would you do if you could do anything you wanted to do? What would you name it? That's the first part. Name it. And then trust the universe. Remember, the universe is only going to deliver based on where you are vibrating.
Yeah.
So if here you says, I believe, but the 90% of your unconscious says, no, that's going to win. So again, digging into your unconscious. Beautiful. But give yourself permission is the message.
Okay. Love it. Last but certainly not least, Pisces. We've got the North Node around 20 degrees all month for you in your sign. And so Mars is opposite the North Node since it's conjunct the South Node over in Virgo on July 22. And that's the same day that the sun goes into Leo. So it's a lot of energy on the 22nd North Node. So yeah, it's happening for you, Pisces. So Joanna's listening to this and resonating because she has North Node in Pisces.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, so you're listening. I can rate this in the description. You're listening for your sun sign, of course, but I always listen for my rising, my sun, Sagittarius, North Node. I end up listening to them all. Let's be honest, because I have placements everywhere. But yeah, you got some energy there on July 22, Pisces. Plus, you have the North Node going through your sign, and it has been for months now, and it's encouraging you very strongly, Pisces, to drop the veils. You know the veils I'm talking about? It's the veil between this world and the next.
Distortions.
What's that?
Distortions.
The distortions. So, because Pisces, you are the most spiritual sign. If you're to hierarch it, it's Pisces and then it's Sagittarius. Okay, that is the spiritual gurus.
And I have two of those.
And I've got two of them as well. You, Pisces, you are the spiritual guru, okay? And so your whole life, you can feel very confused. It's very confusing energy. It can be very foggy because it's not earthy. It's not grounded. It's like, who am I? Am I talking to the Hathors? What's foggy woggy? It can feel that way. But with the North Node going through your sign now, it's really encouraging you to go there. Go there, Pisces. Okay, go there. Drop the veil.
Go there. Go, just do it.
Just do it. And so, you've got that energetic signature on July 22, bringing it up for you. Yeah. It's okay. Joanna's dying to say something, but what I will finish with at Pisces is you were born for this. If you are a Pisces person, you were born for this. If you are rejecting that spiritual side of you, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt real bad. Should I start singing like a country music song now? Should I? Or should I just drop it over to Joanna? What are you picking up on? Because for me, I'm picking up on Pisces, you were born for this and really embraced the spiritual side of you.
With the moment I heard word Pisces, without remembering that Pisces is my North Node, that came later, I just heard, yes! That's how I heard it. Ready?
I'm ready.
Radical self-acceptance.
Oh, bomb, bomb.
And inner harmony.
Yes.
This is where you are at your freaking best.
Mm-hmm.
When you are no longer fighting yourself and you are incoherent. We could say that in that moment, you are in full embodiment.
Nice. Yes.
And your soul cannot inhabit a body that's disintegrated. It cannot happen because it's too much on the nervous system. So how do we experience inner coherence? By meeting our distortions. By realizing that our distortion is not who we are. That we are beyond the distortion, which is what most humans identify with, which is the ego. This isn't about getting rid of your ego. I don't believe in that. I don't operate that way. And according to consciousness that communicates through me, That's not a good idea. No judgment. But don't get rid of your ego. You have an ego for a reason. Universe does not make mistakes. The difference is, do you let your ego run the show? And the ego is limited? Or do you partner with your ego in such a way that you as the soul run the show and your ego is your pet? And you love it and you like it because it's important. It helps you move around in the 3D world. It has valuable information, but it is limited. And that's okay. So this is moving from ego-based living to soul embodiment. And the body cannot embody soul if it's not integrated, if it's not in harmony. So, shadow work, inner child work, all the good, at the end, this is basically, it always boils down to the same thing. It always comes up. It's like whenever I talk to someone, it's like, are you telling me that? Yes, 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 yes. We can say it 1,000 different ways. At the end of the day, it's all at the end of the day. Your soul cannot embody your body unless you are integrated, which is the opposite of disintegrated. Most humans are disintegrated because they're in this harmony within themselves.
Yes.
In other words, what you said very beautifully at the very beginning, we are at war with ourselves. This is not about getting rid of your shadows. This is about doing enough of the work where the shadow no longer runs the show.
Yeah.
Shadow work never ends. It'll never end for me. It's just part of what it is. But I've, in some miraculous way, and I've worked with this for thousands of other lifetimes and been killed for it and murdered for it and God only knows what else. But I've done enough work, especially in this life, to clear some of my own distortions enough so that I am integrated, so that my soul can come in and permanently stay in my body. Yes, that. This isn't about you being special. This isn't about you being somehow chosen. This isn't about you having won a medal or you deserve it. It is for every single human being.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with the doing.
Yes. You could do it easy, Pisces, because you're so darn spiritual and the veil's so thin. It's so thin. Yeah. And I know you sense it, Pisces, you're listening and you're like, yeah, I know it's thin and I can go there easy and I, whatever, you know, my dream state, or I channel messages so easy. It's easy for you, Pisces, but there's a part of you, and it's the ego scared, that is holding on to like grounding, like, oh, but then I'll be weird. Oh, but then I'll lose my mind. Oh, but then we're inviting you now, Pisces,
to lose your mind.
Yes. Let it happen. Let it flow like the river, like the ocean, because Pisces rules the waters. You can do this. Get in the water, let it go, surrender. It's there for you this month, if you want it.
And if you feel like you need someone to hold your hand, Jenny and I, this is what I do. This is what my role is in this lifetime. This is what my role is in this lifetime, is to be in a position to help people move through this process.
Yes.
Because I am a step ahead, not because I'm better.
No.
But because I've chosen to be a step ahead, which means I am the weirdo on the block.
You're the weird one.
I'm the weirdo.
You really are.
I'm the weirdo. I'm the one that people go, have you fucking lost your head? Well, actually, now that you finished, yes, actually, I did. And thank you very much. You have this from mine. Because I deserve it, or because I'm special, it's got nothing to do with that. 0, 0, 0, 0. I'm just a few steps ahead of you, so that I know what the hell is happening. So that I go, okay, I can actually make, this is actually not bad. And then I can share that with you so that you're not freaking out.
The integration process, Joanna.
So I freak out so that you don't have to freak out. That's right.
We'll let Joanna do that.
Because apparently I can handle it. Apparently.
So we've been laughing a lot, and it's nervous laughter. It's nervous laughter here because
Laughing is
I
good.
had been waiting for July energy update. Whoop, there it is. Because it's all now. It's all happening. It's like the 4 of the 5 outer planets. It's happening now. And Uranus and Gemini is the big kahuna.
This is
So
monumental.
we're all feeling it.
This
This
is
is what we were born for.
This is absolutely monumental. And despite moments where I have to call Jenny and just say, please talk to me and just remind me that I'm not going crazy. She's laughing. She's like, Jenny.
We could say, I tell you so. No,
There is a difference you knowing it and then you actually going through it in your body experience. It can feel it feels very destabilizing because everything all of a sudden that you knew just goes to shit. They're saying don't try to explain it because this is not something that can be logically understood. You will never, ever, ever understand it logically. Not gonna happen. It's an embodied experience. It's a whole different ballgame.
Embodiment. That's the final mic drop, is its embodiment. And we've been talking about that for the last few podcasts, the embodiment process. And we're actually getting some really good feedback from our listeners. It's like, oh, wow, your podcast has taken a bit of a change and your energy has changed. And I'd
because
say
those
that
are
is
not
the
in
message.
our bodies, because we are more in our bodies. We are more in our bodies.
That's it. It's the embodiment process that we are, quote, coaching you to embrace and not run away from. If you do want to reach your future self, if you do want to glow up to your higher self, the key is the embodiment process.
Yes. And isn't it ironic that most people live in the head and they actually don't want to be in the body because there is so much unprocessed emotion. To be in 5D, if you use that analogy, it's to be fully embodied. It's not to get out of the body. It's to be fully present in the body. It's to be present. Not to get out. Not to, leave your body. It's to be fully present. Yeah. And in order for us to be fully present in our body, our nervous system has to feel safe. Yeah. So I think we can talk about it for another hour, but we're out. We're done.
I knew this one was going to take a hot minute.
Yeah.
And we could keep talking, but I knew that this was the energy update that was really going to hit.
Yeah. I personally love it. I don't know about you, but I love it.
I love it.
And I'm very excited for everybody.
Love it. We would love to hear from you. How do you enjoy these energy updates? How are you enjoying the podcast? You can send us some suggestions on topics to discuss. But we will close the podcast by saying, you were born for this time. It's an exciting time.
Not a mistake.
There are no mistakes in you being here right now. And if you've made it to the end of this podcast, we thank you so much for listening. And we're wishing you a blessed, amazing July of 2025.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.